Hello, world. Welcome to Rex Arthur TV in an LGBTQ plus land. And today we are going to do a World AIDS Day special fast, and we want to do a World AIDS Day special because a great thing happened this week, especially yesterday, when the British MP decided to disclose his status, and he told the whole world that he is HIV positive. And of course, he had already done that in 2005, but he didn't do it the way he did it today in the House of Commons. That's very significant because it was written now in the Hansard of the British Parliament that there is a member of parliament who is open HIV is out in terms of HIV positivity, and of course he's a gay man. He's openly gay, and he belongs to he's in the Labour Party. So all we can say to Lloyd Russell Moyle is congratulations and thank you for opening up about your HIV status. It is not an easy thing to do for anybody. And that's what we want to discuss today. We want to discuss the question about status, HIV status. It's just like sexual orientation. There is no difference between HIV status and sexual orientation in terms of knowledge. We do not know the HIV status of everybody in the world. We know for few people who have either come out or have been outed after dying from the virus and the disease, a condition. And I was after Russell made that declaration, I thought to myself a lot of things, and I said, "Wow, that takes a lot of boldness." And I wanted to see the reasons he gave, and one of the reasons he said he wants to help others to seek treatment, and that's the reason why he had to come out that he's HIV positive. Number one, to help people to seek treatment. Then secondly, he also did it so as to end stigma. And I was very happy with that he wants to, number one, help people seek treatment, and number two, reduce stigma. And as I've told you, I was now connecting HIV status to sexual orientation. And I discovered these are the same reasons why we come out and we say we are gay, we are bisexual, we are transgender, we are lesbian, we are intersex, we are pansexual, we are questioning, we are queer, we are asexual, we are allies, we are pansexual. The reason why we say that is to also to help those who are also carrying those sexual orientations and let them know there is hope. There is hope for another day. There is hope in your sexuality. Reason being, some people are gay and they really don't like it. They have what you call self-hate or uh, homophobia, self-homophobia, whereby you are homophobic or internalized homophobia. You are a gay person, but you hate yourself, and then so because of that, you become homophobic to yourself. So you even fear your own self, you hate your own self, you treat yourself badly because of that hate. And not only that, it's because of the environment you live in. Even, have you noticed, in remember we did the video of out and closeted countries? In closeted countries, there are even gay people who do not like gay people who are out. Yes, because they feel those gay people are endangering their lives by coming out. So it's a very tough thing to be out in an African country or in an Arabian country. like in Saudi Arabia or in the Islamic countries, it is a very tough thing to come out and say you're gay and you be open about it. And like for me, I'm open about it. And it's now, ever since 2012, I came out, but on social media. And yes, it has been like that. I think now how many years are those? Those are around 6 years. Yes, 6 years of being out of the closet. And it hasn't been easy. As I've already told you, I explained to you my story. I've gone through a lot of persecution. I've gone through a lot of discrimination. You know, personally, I don't have a personal job where I can work. Not because I didn't study. I studied. I went to university. I did very well, and I also went to postgraduate school. Also did very well, and but despite all of that, it's not very easy to get a job just like that because people, they question you. You know, there was even a time I remember when I was trying to get a job, they would even ask, you know, we are going to look at your Facebook. We want your Facebook account so that we can see what you're posting. And if you are posting LGBT rights, then that's a ticket to not getting a job. And that's what happened, and to me. And you know, again, another thing, when you're gay, you have the persecutory complex. There's that feeling that I'm out, so people are just going to attack me all the time. They may not like me, they may discriminate against me. So even before someone has done anything to you, you already have a perception that somebody is going to discriminate against you. So it really puts a lot of challenges onto you. And then people have very many negative perceptions towards gay people. They think they are bad, they think they have just HIV, so they are useless, they don't matter in society, but they matter. They matter a lot. Look at the MP Lloyd Russell. He's an MP and he's HIV positive. Now it's not even affecting him. He's living his life. He's a champion, very great hero, and I honor him, as I honor all my LGBT friends, especially gay friends, who have paid the price of living that life. Of course, you know, and we're going to talk about that in the terms of the HIV scourge that really ravaged and still ravages the gay community or key populations, because in key populations that includes anybody who is sexually active. Yes. Now, so orientation is similar to the HIV status. Some people don't like telling people who they are sexually. And let's start with sexual orientation. Do you know we do not know how many people are straight in this world? Yes, we don't know. Because people, you can be married, but married to the opposite sex, but it still doesn't mean you are straight, because they are bisexuals. Bisexuals are also part of the queer community. So you find people marrying, whenever there's a wedding, everybody's shouting, wow, the man and the woman got married. But they do not know the sexual orientation of either. And you'll find one of them is bisexual, or both of them are bisexual. But when the marriage is taking place, everybody's celebrating that these are straight people getting married. You know, like how pastors reason. They just say, oh, marriage is between a man and a woman. Now, what they forget to tell people, a man is not a sexual orientation. And a woman is not a sexual orientation. Yes, a man is a human being that has an external penis. And a woman is a human being that has an external vagina. That's nothing to do with sexual orientation. Sexual orientation is that there are some people who are gay men, some are bisexual men, some are transgender trans men, some are pansexual men, some are queer men, some are questioning men. That is sexual orientation. That's not sex. Sex is what type of organ you have. Is it a male organ or a female organ? So, those of you who have, you go and see a wedding and you think people are marrying, and then you declare that's a straight wedding. It's not necessarily straight because you don't know the orientation. What am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that and I am attracted to the opposite sex. But what I'm telling you that happens, that's what that it doesn't happen in the world. So we cannot even estimate the number of straight people. Even there was a very good article I think in the LGBTQ media that said actually there are really no pure straight people in the world. They're not there. Yes, and I believe it. I strongly believe it. They are not because if you look at the lifestyle of human beings, we spend more time with the same sex than the opposite sex. That's what happens. And because of those interactions, there'll be a time when you will one day engage in same sex relations. So the moment you engage in same sex relations, you will end up being a bisexual. That's why I always tell people majority are bisexual. Majority. But these days I don't make it dogmatic because I understand there are straight people who do not even want to do homosexual sex at all. But those who have engaged in same sex relations, even if it's once, and what I mean by engaging, they were physically, physically came, physically, physically came on. You know, they came on. Those guys are bisexual. So I told you because of that, I don't know how many straight people are in the world, and even gay people. We also do not know how many people are HIV negative and HIV positive. How many people are HIV negative and HIV positive? Of course, knowledge economy is an economy is the main fuel of the economy. Without data, those economies are dead. If you want to kill the knowledge economies of the world, just take away data. That's why people are fighting for net neutrality, because it's through the internet that we have got a lot of data about the world we live in. You get economic data, social data, political data, um, socioeconomic data, health data. Everything can be data. Everything you know, even stones, geographical data, meteorological data, that is the weather. We are measuring even cosmological data that includes what happens in the sun, what happens in the moon, what happens in other planets, what happens on Earth. You know, everything can be put in data, especially everything material. Because even immateriality has data. That is religion. Religion is just, I mean, who has seen God? But people talk about God. When you go to the internet, the internet will show you people praying, talking about God, angels. All of that is immaterial data. Not immaterial that it's useless, but it is talking about what do you call it? Um, it's talking about immateriality, something that can't be seen, and but people are saying it is exists. So that's immaterial data. It's invisible data. Religion is just invisible data, most of it. And other things, but in religion, they can also be visible data, like let's say it is miracles and all of that, blah, blah, blah. So basically, HIV, we do not know how many people are HIV negative. We also do not know how many people are fully HIV positive, especially in uh, weak knowledge economies that in the what's it called, in the third world countries, the third world is not yet, they are not yet become data economies, they have not yet become knowledge economies. So because of that, they are the worst areas to get data, like biometric data of essay. Like there was a very good article by a friend of ours, a Kenyan LGBTQ activist. He was trying to explain why biometric data is a problem to collect in amongst the key populations. Because he said, and I'll do a video about it properly, because I tend to be in the side of the biometric. Reason being, data, you cannot plan without data. So if you have no data, you're wasting time and money planning for anything, because you don't know what you're pouring money into numbers that don't exist, or you're pouring little money to numbers that are very many. So if you don't have the data, what are you going to do? And this is a challenge I have for third world countries. You receive money, but you have no data. So what are you doing? That's why there is corruption. It is there because nobody even knows figures. They don't know what is the real figure. I enjoyed myself one time when I went to a mental health forum, and somebody was giving the number of people who have committed suicide in a year. And then the government official rises up and declares that that number is false. And I was like, don't you work together? You should know the data that this is the number of people who have committed suicide. It was embarrassing to hear that have committed suicide. It was embarrassing to hear that two government officials were contradicting, confused a lot like that. You can't, because it will go missing. That's there's corruption in third world countries. Yes, works. The structures are so weak, they are not organized. There is no data. You make a budget. You make a budget. Now, if that budget is not realistic about the economic situation, in the middle of the project, you don't want to remove any other money. So I need to know how much you need, including contingency. And then I fund you. So materials, no data about what environmental assessment, all of that, they get when the project is done, or it's in the middle of another video about construction. That's why I'm talking with authority now. I'm not HIV and humbly. I honor him. He's a leader. But I differ with him on the issue that we are supposed to be, Africa is supposed to be a data-driven continent. Easily. In fact, if that is what somebody who a donor wants from you, then give them data. That's positive and negative based on Lloyd Russel Moyle's confession. Now, first of all, let it be H positive. You have to be with yourself. Deal with yourself first and see. Secondly, why you should not be forced? Why should not be forced? Because it's a very important condition you have. It's a condition enough for you to be discriminated, be hated, even not to get a job. There are some people who do not hire HIV positive persons. I remember for certificate, they demand for a certificate to know whether they have HIV. And I told myself, I hope it doesn't mean that they don't hire, because I'm not being hired because of my HIV status. I'm being hired for what I can do, merit. So if I deserve the job, then give it to me, but don't discriminate against me because I have a condition that I got, not because I want. Nobody wanted to have HIV. That one, there is nobody who wanted to have HIV who has it. Absolutely none. HIV is a condition that has existed in the world. Yes, and of course we did the other video about the age of diseases, and we found out HIV is just a mutation of SIV, which is a condition found in chimpanzees and has been in the world for thousands of years. It only mutated when a woman met the chimp in Congo, or there's somebody who met the chimpanzee in Congo. So I have accepted the story from Wikipedia about the history of HIV and AIDS. I now strongly believe there is enough evidence that it is a mutation of SIV. And so I've thrown away the conspiracy theories that there was a pilot who had it, then there's a Russian lab. All of those are gone. I don't have them anymore. So we'll also do a proper video about that if we have time. Okay, so I've told you, status is personal. You're free to tell people whether what you know. You have self-test and even know whether your partner is HIV positive or negative. Then now when you find that out, then you can now engage in sex. If you find out your partner is positive, advise them to go to get treatment so that they can stop the virus from replicating, and from growing into full-blown people who have HIV. I don't support it, and I've always said them as is the person who slept with that person. There is no data because HIV is ravaging the most in third world is a data dead. Is in data darkness. Dark data. Nobody knows who is negative, nobody knows who is positive. The only people we know who are positive are those who are taking ARVs, because when you go to the hospital or the clinics that give ARVs, then they know you're positive. So the only numbers they have are for the positive ones who are on medication. But there are positive people who are positive and are not on medication. Those are the ones we need to know so that we can help them out. That's what Russel has just said. Why do you tell them to fear? Especially men. They have that weakness. I understand it is people fear that they can have the thing. It's a phobia. Because getting HIV. Because even if you have, they can even get torn. Of course you did. They can even get torn and you get virus. What do you say? Are you going to say you didn't have sex? Of course you did. But the thing got on. So you have to know whenever you engage in sex, that is a possibility. So be prepared to live with it. So these days I'm encouraging people to go to clinics and expect any news they get, especially if you're active, and especially if you are in the key population. Key population include LGBTQ persons, especially men who have sex with men, and sex workers. Yes, because sex workers, the industry is so chap. It's very fast, So there's no time for you to even know status. So it's like, I need the thing now. The client just come. I just want to release, and the sex worker says, "Okay, I'm available," and they go and have time, and then someone gets HIV. You see, that's why sex workers also have their clinics to help them to stay healthy, because they are going to high risk arena. Yes, it's a fact. People carry so many diseases. Because like now, everybody arrests the chimpanzees that spread it to that Congolese. No, you can't. Animals have diseases they don't even know. They don't even go to clinics. Have you seen sick animals? They're just there. They just let the sickness eat them. This is what we're trying to change, that culture in Africa, whereby you may have it, but you don't do anything about it. You just want to live life. Good. So let's go back to status. Now, there are 6 stati we have done as private study or casual study. I'm amateur. I don't really push myself to do things, but I try. And there are 6 stati, 6 statuses. For those of you who need to know what stati means, it is the plural of status. The first one is those who have come out positive and have told people their status. And in this group, there are 2 types of people who have come out. Those who fully come out like what Russell has done. Russell has fully come out as HIV positive. And then those who partially come out as HIV positive, either to your partners, or to your family, or to some friends, or to a community. So some people, they are partially out about their HIV positive status, and then there are others who are fully out about the HIV positive status. Then there's another catch. Those who are negative. Do you know people who are negative don't even declare? How many people have declared they're HIV negative? We only hear those who are HIV positive, but we never hear from the negatives. So even an HIV, in my view, and what I think should happen, HIV negative people should also come out and say they are HIV negative. And so some of them, they do it publicly, others do it partially. So there's fully being HIV negative, meaning you've declared to everybody you're HIV negative, and everybody you're HIV negative, and you're HIV negative. That means you tell your friends, your family that you are HIV negative. Once you've done that, then you are out, whether it is fully or partially. The second is a closeted status. So the first one, the out status. The second one is closeted status. These are people who do not reveal their status. They don't reveal their status, and it is a right. You are allowed to keep it a secret. As I told you, it's based on right of privacy. It's like your private part. You don't go out and show it to everybody in the name of we want to know you. So please, let's walk naked. We need to know who is who. No, it's a private part because it's based on the law of privacy that says, even in the law of contract, is what you call the principle of privity, that a contract is only between those who have agreed to contract amongst each other. So it cannot involve somebody who is not part of the contract. If you're not part of the contract, you are not part of, you cannot even claim any monies from there. That's why there are many legal battles, because when a mistress wants to get the property, you know, like I love the Fantastic Woman, very nice trans woman who was a boyfriend. I mean, she was a girlfriend of the man who died, and it was a beautiful movie. And the son of the father decided to get the dog. And he said, "This is my dog. I remember Daddy gave it to me. I mean, Daddy used to keep it. Daddy used to keep it." And the dog's already friends with the trans woman. If even and the trans woman, because now they wanted the property of the dad. The dad had given some of the property to the trans woman. So you see, if you're in a country where alone has opened many things to discuss. First of all, mixed orientation marriage. If you legalize mixed orientation marriage, what will it mean? It will mean that if you've married a trans woman, and it's not yet a woman, and it's not yet the end, what is that in law? The end, what is that in law? Law can't explain. See, the problem of law can't explain. See, the problem of law follows developments. Only go to YouTube. Many people are mixed marriages. They are doing it. It's happening, but there's no law to justify what they're doing. So, what down? Legal minds have to sit down, assess the situation for enough years, and then draw to us what is really happening in society, and tell us that these days bisexuals are marrying pansexuals. A pansexual is marrying an intersex. An intersex is marrying. So, because it's a private matter. If somebody wants to know your status, it should be based on what they want to do with you. If they want to have sex with you, then there is, as I told you, they're testing kits. Yeah, just I buy them. Even me, when I have money, I buy. I put a self-test kit around so that someone wants to have sex with me and he asks me, "Oh, what's your status?" I say, let's check, both of us, because I also want to know yours. Yes, and if he doesn't want you to know your status, yes, if he doesn't want to know your status, and you have asked him his status and he has refused to tell you, and do not do the due process of getting, you can decide not to have sex with him. Or alternatively, you will if you take the risk to have sex, fine, but do not blame them for anything that happens. Yes, you can't, because you're all adults, whether they be positive or be negative. We have called them the unknown status. And in the third world, they make up the majority because people know it and they live life till they die. They don't know they have levels. Now, that's what has happened in science. The undetectable. You're still positive, but you have very minute T cells in the system. Now, when your T cells disappear, the disease, they die from any disease. You know, even TB can take them, pneumonia, anything, because they have no protection. It's like a house with no fence. Anybody come in. That's what happens. That's what it is to the body. Take ARVs, it reduces the destruction. The job of the virus is the immune span of some animals. Because you know the reason why in the animal kingdom, very many animals don't even live to be 60 years old, even 50, even 40. It's because animals do not know when they have, even if they know when they have a disease, they don't go and treat themselves. Like, oh, let's go to the animal clinic. I'm taking myself. You're a lion. I'm going to the animal clinic because I have just eaten poisonous seed. You know, that's why they're wild animals. They live so wild, they can eat anything and still survive. But a domesticated animal, when it eats that same food that the wild animal has eaten, they can even, their system is so protected, it's so fragile. When they're exposed, they just receive it. Like malaria. People who live in malaria-prone areas don't get malaria because their blood has built an immune system that fights it. That's what they said in what is it called? In the research, they found out that there's a special character in the blood of people who live in malaria-prone areas, like in Africa. They are rhesus. It doesn't, because over the years they have lived with malaria, and because of that, their body builds a response to that malaria. So the blood is very powerful. In fact, I want to sit down and study blood and the whole body. It's like it has its own brain. So it has created a fence so that even if a mosquito bites that person, the person is doesn't get sick. So you'll find someone who comes to Africa just bitten by one mosquito, he even can die. Reason: the person has does not have an immune system that has ever met malaria before. That's why even you have to be injected with yellow fever, all of these things, so that when you come and you meet it, you're okay. But for the Africans who have lived in Africa for all their life, somehow their blood is is immune because they got it from their parents, their great grandparents, their great great grandparents. They have lived in Africa all that time, so it's even genetic. They know how to defend malaria because their ancestors have lived in the area for so long, and they dealt with that form of malaria. So basically, some blood can cope in an environment it's used to, but the blood that's not used in that environment suffers. This is why children in Africa die of malaria more than adults. It's because children, their immune system is not that strong. So even if they have the genetic makeup and the blood makeup to fight malaria, it's not that strong. So if the malaria is so much, the child will die, even if he has the fence to fight it. So basically, I've just told you this, the unknown status, and majority of people in the world live in that. They don't know whether they're positive and negative, and they don't want to know. And now that's another thing you have to understand. The sad truth, you cannot even force, and you should not force people to test. That's what it's the saddest truth, because it is a privacy. It's a private matter. Reason why am I saying it's a private matter? When you are told something that you fear, you really fear it. You see? You really fear it. You don't want to know you have it. Because when you know you have it, you can even kill yourself. You can commit crime. You can murder. That's why at the VCT centers, it is called voluntary counseling and testing. They have to counsel you to tell you, okay, have you been having sex? And has it been unprotected? And how many partners have you had it with? Okay, so are you willing to do a test just to check how you're doing? If you say no, fine, please leave the bill. If you say again, and they tell you, okay, now that you know you're positive, what do you want to do about that? And then you make up your decision whether you're going to take medication or not, because everything is your choice. We can give you medication and you don't want to take it because it makes you have bad side effects. You don't live your life well, so you just say, I throw it. I don't want it, and nobody can stop you. That's what we need to understand about life. Life is in your hands as a person. And this is maybe what Dennis Yoka is trying to tell the authorities who want to register people, that you know what, the way we know people, you'll even send them underground. They will not even tell people who they are. But I am standing on the point of, it's important to tell a society, tell a people that we need data. Data is going to help you survive. It is going to kill stigma. You see, like today, Russel has said that he's making news. Why is he making news? He's making news because very few people do that. They can't come out and tell. This is a politician. How many politicians do you know their status? How many? Very few. You see? So, this is a bold politician, and he's doing it, and it's going to happen. Change is going to come in the world, whereby if we want to deal with HIV, let's deal with it in an organized way, so that those who are positive are not victimized, are not discriminated against, and don't suffer stigma. And then those who are negative should also not, because who perpetuates the stigma? Let me tell you, the negative persons. Yes, those are the ones. Because the moment they hear you're positive, I don't even want to greet him. You see, there's a lot of ignorance out there. I don't even want to touch him. It's back to those rumors, the days when HIV was now known. Even people could not kiss. And they don't even know how it is spread. So you see what happens now when the positive people realize that somebody hates you when they know you're positive. They now go to underground. Then the ones who get positive, because they have never seen people who have come out to say they are positive, they won't tell anybody. So you'll have many cases of closeted statuses, and the disease is spreading. Like now, as I told you, in countries that are not data driven, knowledge economies, believe you me, it's going to go on and on and on and on, because everyone is closeted about their status. And that means stigma continues, spread continues. Now, the only thing that is saving us right now is the PrEP revolution. And I support it 100% because it is empowering negative persons to engage with positive persons with the aim of creating a vaccine that, because it is the using the antidote of PrEP that the guys who are going to create the it is using the structure they use will be the basis of the vaccine. That's my prediction. And so far, PrEP has done very well, very well. Very few cases have people who have taken PrEP come positive. Very few cases. So PrEP has done very well. So that means there is hope. There's a vaccine is coming, and when it comes, it will be the job of negative persons to take it and now live life. So now we'll have a new group. Those who come out and they have been vaccinated against HIV and AIDS. And we even said here in one of our videos, we wish there is an omnibus vaccination, just like there's an omnibus ARV, so that you can sleep with anyone who even has different HIV strain. Yes. There are some people, there are strains, HIV has strains. So you may meet somebody who has an HIV strain that is different from yours, and then they send it to you, they infect you with it, and then you succumb because the medication you're taking only fights this strain, the one you have. So this new one, it can't fight it. So what does that mean? Even if you're building the walls of immunity, this new virus is now destroying, and there's nothing stopping it. So it's replicating, and destroying the walls even as you take the medicine. So my view to scientists would be, you just make an omnibus ARV medication and then omnibus vaccination, because omnibus vaccination meaning that you are not exposed to all the strains of HIV cannot affect you when you're vaccinated with that vaccine. Okay, guys, that's the end of our video. Let us do a run through a summary of what you discussed. One, you discussed HIV status, that it is similar to sexual orientation, and therefore it is a private matter. It is your right to disclose, and it's also your right not to disclose your status, HIV status. And we have said that there are 6 groups of statuses stati. Number 1, when it comes to HIV positive, there are those who are out about their HIV positive status, and they can be fully out or partially out. Fully means they have told the whole public or a sizable number of people, and both know, those who know them and those who don't know them. And then partially means you have told few, they fear discrimination, they fear being hated, they fear rejection. So because of that, they're closeted, and they have a right to be closeted because that is now the right on the freedom, the right of privacy. Yes, you can keep that in private and only tell somebody your status when you find this person is the one I can tell my status. Thirdly, in the positive group, you have those who are HIV positive but unknown. We have called it unknown status. You are positive but you don't know. You don't go with life, you just go with life, and then you may even not die about HIV. Another thing people need to understand, not everybody dies of HIV, even if they are positive. Sometimes even a car can hit you. So don't worry, just live life and let life live. That's my philosophy. So unknown status means you are positive but you do not know. Okay, then the next 3 statuses are the negatives, and these ones are the out status, those who are HIV negative and have told people they are negative, and some fully, meaning to the public or to a sizable number of people, and others have done it partially, meaning they have told their friends and their family. Then second group of negatives is closeted negatives. These ones do not tell people they are negative, but they are HIV negative. And they are there, but yes, they are there. I've told you there, because how many people do you know are negative? Can you tell me, point to me? You see? So very many people are closeted about their status. But actually, it's not even closeted. Because closeted means you know your status, but you don't reveal. Out status means you know your status and you reveal. Unknown status is you don't know your status and you therefore can't reveal. You see? So in the negative, there's also closeted negatives, just as the closeted positives. Then we have the unknown negatives. These ones are people who have never gone for testing and they're actually HIV negative. So we call them unknown negative. So let's say them again. We have the out positives, the closeted positives, and the unknown positives. And then we have the out negatives and the closeted negatives and the unknown negatives. And we all live in this world. HIV AIDS affects everybody, especially those involved in sexual activity. We are sexual beings, so we are affected. That's why this is the 30th anniversary of World AIDS Day, meaning it began in 1998 and 1988, sorry, when they started recognizing the magnitude of the disease and the condition, and they decided the world needs to have a day to remember and to know that it's working hard to curb the disease, at the same time to reduce stigma, so that people who have it do not hate themselves. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy World AIDS Day. Watch AIDS documentaries. Read about HIV and AIDS. As I told Wikipedia, very good information. Don't attack somebody before you know what you're talking about. Go and read about HIV and AIDS seriously, and then face them. Because I was talking to somebody one time and they were telling me, he was blaming gays and blaming us and saying, you guys are the ones who are spreading the disease. And I said, are you sure you know what you're saying? Back up what you're saying. People have been having gay sex for thousands of years. Even animals have gay sex today. Lions are having gay sex. They don't spread HIV. So gay sex is not the origin of HIV. That should be removed from the brains of homophobes immediately. Gay sex is not the origin of HIV, because gay sex is older than HIV. HIV is a mutation of SIV. So what does that mean? Gay sex has been there irrespective of what diseases are there. So it's not the origin. The reason why many gays may have HIV is because their lifestyle is not like straight people. Straight people, most straight people settle down in marriage. It's because they are legalized. Their relationships are legal. Yes, they are allowed by the government. The gay sex, in fact, the secret to reduce HIV in the gay community is decriminalization. Yes, because people who are gay will have sex with their partners and without fear of being arrested. And so that kills, because what's going to happen? Openness in relationships. You meet this guy, you like him, he's sexy, he's handsome. You go and sit down with him and say, okay, yeah, I really love you and I want to do something with you. Yeah, and then I not only do something with you, even I want to have a relationship with you. Yes, and then you'll discuss about his status. And when you find his status, It is you to stay with him or not. I used to say, and I still say it, I'm the nurse for gay men who are positive, in the sense that if you need love, I'll be there for you to show it to you, because I understand that even positive people need love. Yes, they need to be shown that they are not positive because of their sexuality. They are positive because that is the natural condition of the world. Even heterosexuals get HIV. So do not lambast gay people. And even you as a gay person, do not hate because you have HIV. It is part of life, and luckily medicine has, and that is with ARVs, them very well, and keep your life well with your friends, keep yourself in a good company, enjoy your life even though you are positive. And of course that is now talking, then governments need to really revisit their HIV policy. Personally, if I was in government running the machinery, like let's say Ministry of Health, everyone who is HIV positive must be on social welfare. Yes, yes, it should be, because they face discrimination, and therefore most of the jobs do not hire them. Yes, that's right. Otherwise, you will be treating them like a population that should just die. You know, there's some people who believe they are dead. They're not dead, they are alive, they're active. Look at Russell, he's an MP, for crying out loud. Could speak very well. So they would have told him in the past, they would have said you cannot be an MP because you're positive. Yeah. So things are changing in the world, and we really have to encourage it. We have to be optimistic. Why should we be optimistic? Things happen. Yes, I've told you, even a condom can burst. You can be the holiest nun and then you get HIV. Yes, so what? It happened. The condom burst. Yeah. So don't worry. Just live life, go and take your medication. And then to the negatives, especially negatives who are sexually active, it's advisable you take PrEP, so that in case condom bursts or sexual joy comes up on you, you don't regret anything, because it's wrong to incriminate somebody of giving you HIV when you didn't know his status. To protect yourself as a negative person, take PrEP, so that even if somebody lies to you that I'm negative when they're actually positive, there's nothing that's going to harm you. And yeah, that's the end of our discussion. Let's go on with life as we remember everybody. We are all affected. That's why World AIDS Day is an important